Right, let's take a look at this then. It's the first generation Whirlpool 6 cents that came out a long time ago. About 20 years ago now. The model number is AWM8123-6k. And there's a reason why it's called 6k, but I'll get onto that in a minute. Right, this is the old style from the 90s, the late 90s. So you've got this door with this round filter. There's also a kick plate, but it's missing. There's one or two tiny issues with this particular actual machine, but generally overall the build quality is very good. So, what are the few little issues? Well, number one, it came from around London, which meant that it came with copious amounts of limescale. Now, I put it through several boil washers before realising that the mould was actually attached to the limescale around the tub. After 2 lots of citric acid, and that's a lot, 2 cups of time and then 2 boil washers, so if it took 4 cups of citric acid, it got most of it off. There are 1 or 2 places inside. The other thing, though, that this does has is it has an antimicrobic door seal, which means that no mould actually builds on it. There was a lot of brown mould on it of build-up detergents that had obviously started rotting, but it wasn't actually setting into the door seal. But giving that a clean, and it looks pretty like new again. The other little issue, the first issue, is that the drum spider might be ever so slightly worn. Once took that citric acid, took the limescale off, it might have revealed odd tiny cracks or maybe odd holes that might be appearing in the back of the drum spider that I can't tell by pulling on the drum. It's certainly not snapped, but it certainly hasn't got that much, it hasn't got a very long life in it yet. That being said, if I'm careful enough, I could get a few years out of it actually before it decides to go bad. The other thing problem it has, it might just affect this, but for some very bizarre reason, you see here, we've got this little tiny patch of rust, and it's only here. And then, on the floor, we've got this, a very tiny patch of water, which is clearly making its way out from inside the machine by the detergent bottle. What may be causing it is the fact that maybe somewhere inside steam is getting out, escaping to the side, and then getting across here before dripping down on the inside. So that might be happening, since this did last run a boil wash, and if it uses the hot water, steam clearly comes out the drawer when filling with hot water. So these machines came with a 10-year parts guarantee option. See the leaflet inside. Basically, if you read that very carefully, it doesn't include your labour. So you got 1 year's free parts and labour and 10 years free parts. Obviously, you had to pay for the labour for them to fit it for free. Actually, back then, that was quite good because the call-out charges were a lot less than what they are now. But anyway, behind this door, the door handle is behind here. You pull on that, and we open up. Inside, we've got a little stopper here, so if you turn that and unflick it, it becomes a door stop, so it can't be closed. This is good to prevent accidents with children, for example. Then on the door, we've got 2 stickers. We've got the original service sticker with the serial number 410037245556, and we've also got the ratings plate here, which has obviously got our model number, which is AWM8123. Obviously it's rated for 240 volts for our country, and it's got a 2300 watt input. So actually that means the heater's huge. because typically speaking, a washing motor is between 200 and 250 watts. So if you take that away from 2,300, and you're looking probably at a 2,050 watt heater. That is really good. And actually, it proves that when I'm actually washing. I'll get onto that ever so slightly later. Inside, we've got our antibacterial door seal here. There's a hole in the bottom here to let water drain so it doesn't just sit there. But the reason I could tell it was full of lime scales is because it wasn't actually draining here anymore, it was building up here. Put my hand through and it was just lime scale all built up, clogging the hole up. This is a stainless steel drum with stainless steel built-in rain paddles in. It's actually really big. It's really big for what it is. It's rated at it's rated 6 kilogram in the manual, but it says also that every single wash program for cotton is rated only 5 kilograms. So this is actually just a 5 kilogram machine that can take 6 kilograms if you want it to. That is one big 5 kilogram drum. Right, so we'll go through the programs and options that are available then. To turn it off, we have to have it on at the top most position here. This is 0 on the program dial. So white cotton allows us to wash 5 kilograms of about medium soiled laundry, cotton laundry. It presets at 60, but it goes all the way up to 95 degrees. But watch the time drop. There we go. If we select collared cotton, it allows us to wash 5 kilograms of medium soiled cotton laundry. But this time it's only limited to 60. There is no difference between coloured cotton and white cotton, other than white cotton will do a cool down stage at the end of the 95, 70 and 80 degree options. So at 16 below, it still just runs the standard cotton cycle, so I'm not entirely sure why they needed 2 separate programs for it. That being said, later on the later models, it just becomes cottons. And that's it, with a additional program of a daily wash, which isn't present here yet. Not until the later models. That being said, I mean, 2 hours for a normal 60 degree program isn't that bad. Temperature wise, I'm going to take it to white cotton since coloured cotton is exactly the same, but we can have obviously 95, 80, 70, 60, then it goes up, look, ready? 50, 40, 30, and 20. But it is very weird how it goes up. So if you select 20 to 60, it does a more economical wash pattern, a longer wash pattern actually, than normal. Then your temperatures. Here we've got a start delay, and it goes up to 23. It's just a little bit confusing on this, because if you notice 23 is under the minutes. So it looks like 23 minutes start delay. It's not, it's 23 hours. It might have helped if you put it this side rather than that side. And put a little H, like 1H or 2H and stuff like that. So at least we knew it was hours. But no, not on this. This is impressive though for its time, since there was very few machines with anything more to have around 24-hour time delay. Some wash modification buttons. So if we select Easy Iron, apart from adding an odd minute or two to the cycle, it does a higher wash water level as well, with a different wash rhythm pattern, and then a adjusted spin pattern at the end. Bear in mind it does a shorter, slower spin, even though the RPM spin speed here doesn't actually decrease. Doesn't show you that, unfortunately, but the final limited spin on cottons is still only 800 RPM. So it's a bit annoying that it doesn't actually show you that. Or like that. That would have been better. But they haven't. But still, that's the easy iron option explained for you. And then we've got Eco, which will drop time, well, at least for 20 degrees to 60. If you select 70 odd, it kind of increases it a little bit. But what it does on Eco is it lowers the temperature, basically. It saves 40%, that's what it says. It saves 40% of energy, but it lowers the temperature, basically. If you select 60 degrees, it will do it at 40. Select 40 degrees, it'll do it at 30. Select 95 degrees, and it'll do it at 60. And so forth. And I think it's the same for 80 and 70. They're still done at 60 as well. Also, it takes on hot water only while it's filling for the wash. So, it saves energy by using gas energy instead. Then we have a pre-wash option, which miraculously drops time on the 20 degree cycle. Look at that, 1 out of 27. What it does a 11 minute, or it says 11 minutes if you select 95. So what it does a 15 minute cold pre-wash before the main wash. It's a separate wash, so you need detergent in both compartments. Then we've got intensive rinse, which will basically it lengthens the length of the rinses, and that's it. Then we've got rinse hold, which will stop before the final spin. That's why 15 minutes is taken off, because that's how long the final spin is. When you release the rinse hold at the end, it will do the final spin. But what it does, it suspends the clothes in the final rinse water to keep them fresh and crease-free. Things to note that don't note it in the manual is that Eco and pre-wash are not selectable with each other. Easy iron and intensive rinse are not selectable with each other either. Though you can have Eco with intensive rinse, or you can have easy iron with pre-wash, etc. So there you are. Or you can have easy iron with intensive rinse. No, sorry. There you go. And you can have rinse hold with everything. Then we've got the adjustable spin speed. These are in RPM. So the higher the number, the faster the washer will spin and the drier the clothes will come out. Though theoretically, the more creased the clothes come out. So we've got 1200, 800, 400, 100 RPM, and then 0, which will be drain only. Hence why the time drops. If you select 100, that's basically distribution. It's a bit weird to have a 100 RPM distribution speed, which is very bizarre altogether. But right, we've got the synthetic cycle, which you can go all the way up to 60 degrees with. Again, we can have intensive rinse, pre-wash, eco and easy iron options. It has a maximum spin of 800 RPM. And it's made for washing 2.5 kilograms of man-made fibres. Then we've got Rapid Plus. So naturally this pre-selects at 30, but as you can also see, we've got 40, 50, 60 degree options as well as 20. Select 20 or 30 and it's a 30-minute wash. It presets as well at 1200 RPM. It doesn't do an actual full length 1200 RPM, it does a shortened version of it. But it still does a pretty good spin for what it is. It allows you to wash 3 kilograms, so it's a little over half load of lightly soiled cotton and synthetics. You could probably wash synthetics in just like 800, for example. You can also select intensive rinse. And I'm sure you can have easy iron as well. So you can have easy iron or intensive rinse with Rapid Plus. Then we've got delicates. You can wash at 30 or 40 or 20. This allows you to wash 1.5 kilogram of delicate fabrics, labelled with the double dash under the 30 or 40 degree markers on the care label. Does a short 800 RPM spin. Then we've got wool, which is pretty much the same. You can have 40, 30 or cold. Again, 800 short spin. And it's actually for actual wool made garments. Max load of 1 kilogram. We've got hand wash, which is sort of made for silk and hand wash labelled items. It presets at 0, but you can actually increase it to 400 and do a very slow short spin. Max temperature is then only 30 on this. Yeah, there's no programs there. Then we've got a drain only program, a gentle spin, which is the wool spin. Spin only, which is the cotton spin. You can also select easy iron as well on this program. Then you got rinse and spin, which is a... You know what? I'm not really sure. If I select rinse hold, it will tell me. Because it only says 4 minutes, I think rinse and spin does 3 woolens rinses followed by a wool spin. So there we go. Then of course back to off. Start any program, you press the start button to make it start, and then you got pause if you want to pause it during a cycle. Right, we've got the door open icon here. So whenever this is lit, you can open the door. For example, if I turn it on now, the door open is never actually lit. There we go. So the door open is lit. If I close the door, it's still lit. If I press start, it will stay lit for a very brief period. If you open the door while it's in door open mode during a cycle, it will just pause the cycle. Right, so let's test this there little beauty out. We're going to put Pikachu in because he's not been washed for a while. We're going to select Rapid Plus. We're going to select 60 degrees. We're going to put intensive rinse on. It doesn't actually adjust the time whatsoever. And we're going to set it to 1200 as well. Right, so this is our detergent drawer. That's never been cleaned, ever. This is our pre-wash compartment. This is the main wash compartment. And this is the fabric softening compartment. Anyway, the fabric softening compartment here has a little spigot that goes over like that and has the word maximum written in on it. This little tab will release the drawer to be pulled out. Like so. So we can gain access and clean the drawer. And then this little thing pops up. That's probably never been used either, since it's very stuck. It's coming. And this is our liquid dispenser gauge. So that slots into here. Again, never been used ever. I'm gonna give up with that. And then once you've finished using liquid and you want to go back to powder, you can slot this back in. If you go to the top here, it's 200 millilitres. Likewise for the drawer for powder, it's around 300 millilitres since you get up to the flap. When you're done, you just push that back in there, and then you never lose it. Which is a good little feature to have, since, I'm going to be honest, every other manufacturer that has a liquid dispenser gauge often goes missing, so... Anyway, we're going to put our liquid in the drum. press start. So the wash light has now appeared. We're filling with a mix of cold and hot, and I can tell that this is genuine cold and hot because there's no steam coming out the drawer. If I selected Eco, it would often just pour out the steam as it's filling just hot. Even on 40 and stuff like that. Not this time around. We've got 5 icons: pre-wash, wash, rinse, rinse hold, spin, and then the door open light, which will probably appear at the end of the cycle. So you'll often hear clicking during the wash. This is because the machine runs with a mechanical dial. Yes, despite what you might think as being all digital, it still runs with a mechanical dial behind the fascia. But that surprised you. Actually getting towards 60. So I'm going to give this out of 10 then. Well, it's going to get a solid, well, 9 out of 10. The 1200 spin is actually gets stuff very dry on the normal cotton cycles. You've got the Rapid Plus program, which is by far the best 30-minute wash of its kind back in its day, and pretty much even compared to like today's standards, it's still pretty good for what it is. It gives you all the cycles you want. Going back to the 90s anyway, most washing machines only had these cycles actually, but it gave you all the cycles you needed. It gave you all the options you needed too. It washes with a decent enough water level on both the wash, and you can adjust the rinse for that as well. It rinses well enough. It's well built. The shock absorbers cope very well. This is only a 2 shock absorber system. There are some 3 shock absorber systems on other models, but this is a 2 shock absorber, and actually it spins regardless. It doesn't seem to want to rebalance at all at any point. I've never really seen it do it anyway, and as you saw on that video, and as you saw in that demonstration, it spun unbalanced as well. It just doesn't really care whether it's balanced or not. But then again, it just doesn't move at all and spin. That's how good it is. It's very heavy, it's very well built, very informative. The timings are always correct, pretty much. They're always spot on, which is actually very good for a timer machine back then, because actually a lot of timer machines back then were all a bit all over the place. Whether that be Hot Point or Zanussi or any of them, the early versions were always all over the place. It gives you variable temperature, which gives you whatever temperature you really want without being overly complicated. Yeah, I can't really fault it, to be honest. Obviously it has its own faults due to its age, but what more can I say? This is brilliant. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in another review, another day. See you again soon.